Hello, hello. This is David Totten coming to you live from Danville, Virginia. This is our first live stream. So, any mistakes, I'm just going to go ahead and tell you now. Any mistakes, charge it to the head, not the heart. Trying to get my special guest on today. She is going to talk to us about, where we are with mortgages. I got some fire round questions to ask her. But again, welcome to Living in Danville, Virginia. I'm your host, David Totten. My team and I, we get calls and texts every day from people just like you looking to relocate to the area. So again, if it's 6 weeks, 60 days, give us a call, shoot us a text, send us an email. We would love to help you make a smooth move to Danville, Virginia. Okay, she's coming in now. Add her.
Hey,
Hi,
how you doing?
I am great. How are you doing?
I am doing well. I'm excited to be here.
Me too. I am excited to have you here. I was just given an introduction, welcoming everybody to the channel. It's good to see your face.
Okay.
And it's funny because I know you were crunching numbers for,
Crunching,
for another
crunching.
teammate this morning. So,
Yes.
it's Saturday at noon, and you grinding it out just like we are. So, it is a pleasure to have you today. I just got your text too, so okay.
We
But
on here.
we're working. We're here. I told everybody, any mistakes, charge it to the head, not
Okay,
the heart,
please.
because this is my first live stream. So but I think we should do this more often.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be fun. I'm excited. I can't wait to hear everybody's questions
Right.
and responses to what we're talking about, what we say. So I'm excited about it.
Awesome. All right. So I mean, we'll just go ahead and get started. It's 12:03. Why don't you tell everybody who you are, where you're from, and what you do, and then we'll go into who you work for and get into some of the other stuff.
All right. So my name is Brandon. I am originally from Halifax County, South Boston, Virginia, born and raised.
Let's go, South
Um,
Boston.
then I went on to William and Mary to get my bachelor's degree. So I was in Williamsburg for a while. I went to
Okay.
New York to start my master's in social work, and then COVID came. So I was in the middle of New York, and then next thing you know, that was like the worst place to be when COVID happened. So they
Oh,
allowed
wow.
me to break my lease, and I was able to come back to Virginia with my parents at first. And then, of course, I ended up buying a home in Blairs, Virginia. I am a mortgage lender licensed in the state of Virginia and North Carolina. So I think
Nice.
I covered the first set of questions there.
You did. So, mortgage lender, what company are you with, and how long have you been with them?
So I am with Alcova Mortgage in the state of Virginia. It originated in Allegheny County, Virginia. So it is a local mortgage company, but we are in a lot of states now and we do a lot of business. I've been with Alcova since I believe I switched over to Alcova in about September. But
Okay.
I'm so glad I made that switch. I mean, the transition is crazy. Alcova is amazing. As far as our closing time, I'm closing in about 20 to 25 days. As long as my clients send me everything in a reasonable time, I can close pretty quick with Alcova. The underwriters, they are so good to work with. And they're very understanding. So we can handle a lot of situations that a lot of lenders turn away. So I work with people who are fresh out of bankruptcy. So if you know anybody in bankruptcy, I am able to help them. People with car repos, a lot of lenders turn those people away as well. But if you know anybody in those situations, I can help them. I don't think any challenge is too much. So definitely, if you know anybody that is going through anything like that, just send them my way and I'll be able to advise them.
All right. So one thing that you said was the closing time,
Right.
right? So you said 20 days.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So I get that a lot. Is I'm looking to buy a house. How long does it take? And usually I'm telling people 30 to 45.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know that there are some other factors that come into play,
Right.
which is um, some of the terms. And
Yeah.
you have home inspections, you have appraisals involved, you have home
Mhm.
repairs that come into play. So with that 30 to 45 day turnaround, how is it that you, my friend, we doing this in 3 weeks?
Well, the thing is, it really depends on the client. It's heavily dependent on the client.
Okay.
Because if I ask you for the thing is, I'm a very hands on lender, I'm not passive at all. So, whenever my processor asks for something, I'm calling my client immediately. I'm like, hey, this is what I need. And ideally, I want it in 24 hours. But if it
Mhm.
takes you 48, that's okay. So, the client and how soon they can return the request from the underwriter has
Mhm.
a really big impact. But also, right now with Alcova, we are able to get these conditional approvals out fast, as you just saw with the client we're working on together. I mean, we got the conditional approval same day. So it's the whole team working together and trying to get things done fast. And also, in certain situations, I'm able to explain to the underwriter, hey, this one needs to close soon. Like, I know the contract date says this, but we need to put the pedal to the metal. So we are able to kind of push some things forward as long as everybody's on the same page. So the team is on the same page, as well as the client understanding the urgency to get them closed soon. That's how we're able to get that 20 to 25 day mark, even though most are 30 to 45.
Okay, so I do have to give you your props because we're helping this lovely family that's relocating from Florida up to Martinsville, and we um we had I know you sent me a text and said that you have the file ready, you're sending it to the underwriter, and that usually takes 24 hours.
Yeah.
All right. So, and honestly, I'm gonna go. Let me pull up my phone. This is what I want to do because we're doing this live.
Right.
So
You got to tell them.
this is what you did. You sent me a. Let me get to that text with them. Where is it? Where is it? Josh. Okay, here we go. So you sent me a text at yesterday at 1:03 p.m.
Hmm.
and the information has been sent off to the underwriter for conditional approval. The turnaround time is 24 hours. You sent me another text at 3:49
PM, same day.
p.m. same day. So that is 2 hours and that's 3:49. 2 hours and 40 46 minutes.
Yeah, and we were able to get that conditional approval so we can get everything going for that client. So yeah, I definitely understand the urgency. So for
Right.
me, I'm like, I just like to inform everybody of the entire situation. That way everybody understands. Because if you don't inform the team, they're like, okay, the contract date says this, so we can kind of, chill out a little bit. I'm like, no, we got to get it done fast, quick, fast,
Right.
hurry.
Yeah, because we're closing them in what's about 3 weeks, right?
Yeah.
About 3 weeks. So
Mhm.
to get a conditional approval in less than 3 hours, I've never had that happen before. So
Yes, so I was really happy about that. I was like, man, my team is on it this time.
they are. So I appreciate you. So let's get into some more of our questions here. Like I said, we went through the basic stuff. So since we're doing this for people looking to relocate to the area, the topic for today is mortgages are nuts. Is
Okay,
it
I
is it
understand.
yeah, is it still a good time to buy,
Uh-huh.
not just in Danville, but is it a good time to buy anywhere right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
So let's just say I'm looking to buy a home. I'm a first time buyer or relocating, and I refer a client to you. What does the mortgage process look like? And we can kind of go high level A to
Okay.
Z for this.
So for me, whenever I first have my conversation with a client, we go over the big three. So the first is your credit report, overall credit, not just your credit score, but your overall credit. So that's number one. That is the biggest hurdle that most people have to get over is that credit report. So
Mhm.
that's number one. And then we go into debt. So next we gotta see, how much do you owe?
Uh-huh.
How much are you paying in student loans? How much do you have for your car? How much do you have in personal loans? How much are you self-reporting? Because if you self-report, it's good to improve your score. But when it comes to your debt to income ratio and getting you qualified to purchase a house, now you've reported all of these bills that I don't usually see. So we got to look at debt. And then we
Mhm.
also look at your income. So the thing is, people come to me and they ask me, well, what do I need to make to be able to qualify for so and so for a house? But I will tell you, you can have ranges. You can have people making 70 to 100,000 that can't qualify for as much as somebody making 40,000,
Mhm.
because it's all about how much do you owe. And that is really the biggest determining factor of what you can get approved for. So I
Okay.
focus on those big three with everybody, because I mean, those ratios, especially your debt to income ratio and all that,
Mhm.
that is what's going to determine how far we can go. That'll even determine what programs you can get into, whether you can get a USDA loan with no down payment, or whether you would get down payment assistance, or are your ratios so high that you can't qualify for any of this income-based assistance, or you would just have to qualify for less than what you want to purchase because of your ratios. So the biggest thing there are those three. So that's what I focus on with everyone. And really, I just have to get the full picture. So I have to get that credit report, look at everything. I have to really see what is getting reported. Because a lot of people don't really know what's on their credit. They don't know what debt they owe. They don't really even know. I mean, I see fraudulent information reported on credit reports all the time.
Right.
So just getting the idea of what is on your credit, how much you owe, and going from there. That's really like that first step.
Okay. So those big three, can you name those one more time?
So we have your credit report, so your overall credit.
Uh-huh.
We have your debt. So anything that's reporting on your credit report, such as a car, furniture, financing, credit cards, all that. And
Okay.
then we have your income. So how much are you bringing in to combat this debt you have?
Okay. So credit, debt to income or DTI,
Mm-hmm.
and then income.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. So with that, with the mortgage process and what that looks like, when you look at the three, let's just say, I'm currently renting right
Mm-hmm.
now, and I want to purchase a home, but the interest rates are the interest rates are high. So, um, how would how would you help a buyer be able to understand that the differences in cost of renting versus
Mm-hmm.
owning, and what those costs look like?
Okay. So the biggest thing for me is I tell anybody who is trying to purchase a house who does not have any money saved and wants to put very little money down, when interest rates are high, this is the time for you. Because when rates were 2 and 3%, people were paying cash for their properties. They were going 50 to 100,000 over asking price. And if you don't have any liquid cash, you cannot compete in a market like that. So yes, you can qualify for more, and yes, your payment will be less. But how are you going to be able to put a competitive offer in to win against people who have liquid assets? So right now is the time for people who do not have money saved and who do not think they can acquire as much money as you may think you need to put down. This is your time, because in the last quarter, I'll say the sellers paid all my clients' closing costs. Like
Okay.
every closing I did, the sellers paid the closing cost. If not, they paid half or majority,
Which was unheard of last year.
which was unheard of last year. So yes, you do see people buying right now, even though interest rates are a little bit higher. But the thing about it is, when you rent, that rent goes up and up and up and up. You rarely hear about a landlord decreasing your rent. But one thing you can do when you own a home is you can refinance and get a lower interest rate when interest rates are lower. So I also was a notary public, and I was doing loan closings for a good minute.
Mhm.
And it really started when the rates were 2 and 3%. And I was seeing people in $300,000 homes refinancing at 2%, having $800 payments on a $300,000 house, $400,000 house. I mean, it was insane. And the thing is, they did nothing different but live in their house, pay their bills, and then refinance when the opportunity presented itself.
Right.
So that's what I always tell people who really want to purchase and own and things of that nature. Let's get you into the house. Let's get you into a comfortable payment, a payment that you know you can make. And
Mhm.
then when these rates go lower, let's get you into an even better payment. Let's slash it by $200, $300. You're still in your house, but your payment has went down. And by the time you refinance, you may want to take some cash out, do some improvements on your property. It's so many options available when you are a homeowner that aren't available to a renter. I know a lot of people come to me who rent, and they are scared of the responsibility of being a homeowner, like
Mhm.
the responsibility to make repairs, the responsibility to, fix things in your house, because you think about like costly expenses. But I also, I guess I'm a jack of all trades. I also work with a company that does remediation and repair on homes. And 99% of these repairs are insurance claims. A lot of these
Mm.
homeowners are not paying out of pocket to fix their homes up. That's why we have homeowners insurance. That's why you pay that every month that you're in your house. Pay it and put it into escrow for your security. Also, you can get yourself a home warranty. That is not expensive.
Right.
And you can call on those people to help you in times of need. And I've seen where I had a lady, her whole a pipe burst, her whole home was flooded. And she was able to get her whole home remodeled like a brand new home just because she just called on her insurance provider. They did everything. They got the water out of her house. They also paid to fix everything. Brand new floors, brand new kitchen, brand new bathroom, everything.
Right. And I've been hearing some stories from some folks that I know, right, that
Mhm.
are currently renting.
Yeah.
And it's like it breaks my heart because a lot of the folks that they're renting from, the landlords,
Hmm.
they re- they're not fixing anything.
Right.
They're letting these people live in these conditions
Hmm.
after they have complained, they have put in work orders, whatever it is. A lot of landlords just won't fix an issue. Now, I know that there are agreements that if the cost is X amount of dollars or less, that the tenant covers the cost.
Mm.
But if it's over that X amount, then it's up to the landlord to fix. And some of these are serious issues like
Yeah.
leaky roofs, mold,
Yeah.
uh, sinks and stuff not working, plumbing issues, and it's like, how can you live like that?
Yeah,
Man.
I have we have neighbors, and our neighbors were renting. We actually own our house, but our neighbors were renting.
Mhm.
And they basically had to move out, and they just like randomly, we saw a U-Haul in their driveway one day, and we were shocked because we love our neighbors, so we were wondering like what's going on. And they said ever since, I believe, September 2022, water has been leaking in the walls,
Mm.
throughout the walls. And then they said it got so bad it completely ruined the bathroom floor, and also it was a mushroom growing in the living room,
Oh, Jesus.
and the landlord refused to fix it. So they ended up having to, go to another home and rent. And right now, rent, it's really hard. I
Yeah.
mean, I'll say it's harder to find a place to rent right now than it even is to buy, because rent is high. Like, you are going to 99% of the time, if you want what you want in a house that you're going to purchase, in the place that you're going to rent, you're
Mhm.
going to be paying more for rent.
Absolutely. And I know, like you said, rent is high in Danville, Virginia.
Yeah.
Right. In Danville.
$1,800 a lot of places.
1800.
Mm-hmm.
A two bedroom, one bath.
Mm-hmm.
I know people personally are getting upwards of 850
Yeah.
to 900 on a 2-1.
Yeah.
2-3 years ago, that was unheard of
Yeah.
in Danville. But that, I guess, that leads us into the next, like, our next question is, all right, we know what the cost difference is in renting versus purchasing. Now, I know
Yeah.
you're gonna have some people who are gonna say, right, but if I own a house, then all of that's up to me to fix. True. But like you said, with insurance
Yeah.
could cover some of those items.
And they'll
Um,
cover the big ticket items too. I mean, they'll cover the flooring, they'll cover the roof, they'll cover electric, like they'll cover anything that's going to cause a major safety hazard for you and your family, or
mhm,
cause extensive damage to your property. Your homeowner's insurance should cover that. Now, you might want to make sure you choose a good company to go with.
right,
Just
right.
like anything, there are some companies that are better than others. So you do want to make sure you have a good company that is understanding. That way, when you are faced with a situation like that, that they are going to act fast, and they're going to act swiftly to make sure that, everything is done right for you. But yeah, definitely you can call on homeowners insurance for major big ticket items. You can call on them for that.
Along with, again, to a home warranty,
Right.
which you can do a year, and it covers all your major systems, appliances,
Mm-hmm.
any kind of issues for less than $600. That's for the year.
Right.
Now you may have to, pay a deductible or whatever it is, but still,
Yeah.
it's easier to pay $400 to $500 for something
Mm-hmm.
than it is to pay 4 or 5 thousand.
That's true.
So,
Yeah, that's a
and
lot.
right, and as a renter, you can have renter's insurance, but I don't know if you can put a home warranty on somebody else's house.
Yeah. I haven't heard of that.
No. But that's the thing. So when it comes to the mortgage loan process, what costs are involved in going throughout the mortgage loan process?
So when it comes to, I'll just say, like, we're just gonna overall put like the purchase, because most people have to go through a mortgage company to be able to purchase their home. Like,
Right.
very few people who have cash on hand offer cash on property. So the biggest cost up front for a home buyer, of course, are the inspection. So the inspection prices can range, I'll say maybe what, $300 to $400 for the inspection.
Yep.
And then you have the appraisal, which is about $500 to $600. And then you have your earnest money deposit. Now, that can vary depending on the cost, like the purchase price for your home. But I'll say in Virginia, I typically see $500 as the earnest money deposit. And then if it's like a higher cost home, maybe 1,000 or so. But That's the earnest money deposit, but of course, earnest money goes toward, taking some of your closing costs off. That's just something you pay up front.
Okay. So we have home inspection, and that's what I've noticed typically too is between $300 to $400.
Mm-hmm.
The home appraisal, and then your earnest money deposit. Now
Yeah.
that's in Virginia.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, because
$500.
those license in North Carolina too. In North Carolina,
Right.
you have the due diligence.
In North Carolina, we do have due diligence, which can be
I mean, I had a
depending.
client put 5,000 in due diligence.
Right.
But it can get higher than that. So depending on what state you're shopping in, those
Mhm.
upfront costs can vary and can be a little bit different. But I will say I wouldn't be too scared um, about like getting started, because I'll tell you, on average, most of my clients who have bought homes, they maybe have spent $1,000 to $2,000 to get into their
Mhm.
first home. You do find some people who are not able to get the down payment assistance. Maybe they're not a first time home buyer. Maybe they don't qualify for USDA. Maybe USDA isn't giving them enough money. So they end up having to pay out of pocket, and they do pay like 3 to 3.5% down. But in most cases, most of my clients are not coming out of pocket like bukus and bukus of money to get into their first home. And I'll even say for myself, we only paid $300 to get into our first house. And that was just for the inspection, because we did USDA. All of our closing costs were paid for, and we got a $500 check back at closing for the appraisal we paid for. So there are ways to get into a home and not, pay bukus and bukus of money. And for me as a lender, when you tell me how much you have, my objective is not for you to use it all, because I already know moving in itself, it costs us
Uh-huh.
more to move than getting into the house. It costs us more to decorate the house than it did to get into the house.
Right.
Like, those are some real costly expenses that I know my clients are going to have to face once they start the process of moving. So I don't try to suck up anybody's savings or anything like that. I just want to know, what do you have? What do you have to bring to the table? What are we working with? That way, if we do get into a multiple offer situation, if you do have some assets on hand, instead of, offering and or asking the seller for all closing, maybe you could pay half of your closing and be a little bit more competitive
Right.
in that way, if you do have those funds available and if you really like your house. But I don't want people to be too scared, because I will say, I had a couple last month that I got into a house, and I think they paid $800. That's what I
Get
think.
into the home.
They ended up bringing, $800,
Wow.
because they ended up getting a check back at closing. I said, y'all, what? Y'all know, I was like, y'all
Right.
dang near got up in here for free. But of course, you do have a mortgage, so you're gonna be paying on it monthly. But I mean, my goal is to try to get people into their houses, but not to hit them over the head. Like,
Right. Right.
that's the goal.
All right. So with the mortgages, to hear somebody getting money at closing
Yeah,
instead of having to bring money to closing, that's something you can't do as a renter.
yeah, you can't. And also, like, we can even talk about our relocating clients. Like,
Mhm.
they are renting right now, paying $1,500 a month, and we're able to get them into a house paying $1,000 a month. Like, that's
Mhm.
what the mortgage is, and they are in a bigger space. They have more bedrooms than they even have in their apartment, more bathrooms than they have in their apartment.
Right.
And that's something that you typically don't see. But I will tell you this, just from a standpoint of a notary, because I was a notary for 2 years, and I was doing loan closings, and I heard a lot of people's stories. I had two clients. One lady, she purchased her house, but that was because she was forced out of the place she was renting. She
Yep.
had paid $250,000 in rent and was forced
Ooh.
out of that place because she had like a big she was renting like a big place. So
Okay.
she paid $250,000 in rent, and all she wanted was for the landlord to fix the property up. She took him to court. She won in court, but since it was his house and his information was on the deed, he requested that she was removed from the property. And the judge honored that because that's his property. So she was forced to move because she took the landlord to court because he wouldn't fix the property up. And she said, yeah, I paid $250,000 in rent. And then I had another couple, it was the same situation. It was a safety hazard, and they took the landlord to court and they won again, but they were forced to move out of the property because, I mean, it's that landlord's place at the end of the day. Like, they are the owner of the property. So, yeah, I didn't fix up the property. And since I didn't fix it up, can you kindly exit the place? Because I don't want you
Right.
anymore. So that's like a decision that they can make because they are the owners of the property.
Or they can say, I'm tired of being a landlord. I'm moving to Florida and I'm selling the house.
And I'm selling it. And I had clients in that situation as well, where like either the owner dies or the owner moves. And at that point, their kids acquire the property, other members of the family acquire the property, and they want to sell it. And then a lot of times they don't offer it to the people who are living in the home to buy. So in that case, I mean, that's a crazy situation to be in. But I've had plenty of people forced out of homes in 30 days. We got to get you into a house because the owner either passed away or doesn't want the house anymore.
Right. And yeah, it's scary. I mean,
yeah,
I have that situation going on right now, and I hate it, because it's like, where do we just said it's harder to rent than it is to buy.
Right.
So when it's time to move out, where do you go? And that's the issue that we're facing, especially anything less than $800 a month.
Yeah, that's the thing, because most people want to be 800 or less. But I'm about to plug my computer up because my computer's about to die.
Yeah, you're fine. You're fine. So while you getting plugged in,
I'm plugged in. I'm back.
What are the qualifications to own a house?
So, I mean, honestly, it's the big three that I went over initially. Like, if you come to me, and I'll say a lot of people are nervous about what their credit score needs to be.
Right.
So I'll tell you, Alcova, we lend all the way down to a 580. Now, do I encourage people with a 580 to get into a home? No. That's just with me personally, because most people with a 580 also don't have any savings. And there are additional stipulations on top of people with less than a 600 who want to buy a home. So you have to have at least 2 months of reserves in your account. So on top of whatever you would have to bring down, you have to have that mortgage payment for 2 months as well. And all you need to do is get your credit up 20 points, and you don't have to deal with that stipulation. And then if you get your credit up 20 points, we can go USDA. You might not have to even do a down payment. So for me, I personally don't lend when it's 580 because I don't feel like that's the best for my clients. But we can go to 580 if back is against the wall and that's what your credit score is. And we just kind of have to work from there. But 580 is the lowest. 600 and up, you don't have all those additional stipulations. But if anybody knows they need assistance and they want to purchase a home, you need to come to me with at least a 620. A 620 will open you up to all programs available, from conventional to USDA to VA to FHA. Of course, FHA goes down to 580, but it opens you up to all programs, and then it opens you up to the down payment assistance as well for the state. So you can get grants, you can get loans to cover your down payment. So ideally, I do prefer for people, if they know they don't have any savings, to try to come to me with a little bit of a higher credit score. It's like, you got to have some compensating factors here. You can't come to me with a 580 and want all your closing costs and down payment for, covered as well. So you got to work with me a little bit, but it's easy to kind of, I always tell everybody now that I have like a credit team that I can refer people to, It's amazing for me because I know that my clients are in good hands, and all of these, credit problems a lot of people worry about, I don't really worry about anymore. Like the credit part is the easiest part for me at this time. And I'll tell you, like one of my clients, she's been in the program for 45 days. They just gave her an update. They just gave me an update. She started at 490. She's been in the program for 45 days and she's above a 600.
Man, get out of here.
And she's going to be able to purchase in June or July.
In 45 days.
45 days. They got all of her late payments removed off of her credit report.
Oh my gosh.
So that's why I always tell people I'm not going down to 580 because I'd rather let's work on this and get you up.
All right. So let's pause right here for 1 second. We detouring.
Okay, let's detour.
I think this is good. So we have a comment from a viewer, Miss Devin Anthony. She says, "This is great to know. I'm learning a lot because I'd be scared to jump out of my comfort zone. LOL." Can you see the comment?
Yeah, I see it.
Okay. So Devin, here we are. And I don't know if this is credit related or whatever it is. And I know me and you just had a conversation before jumping on this meeting. But so let's talk about this credit team of yours, Tylee, because if they can get a client from a 490 over a 6, that's over 100 points in 45 days, right? Because a lot of people who come to me who want to purchase a home don't purchase a home because they say, I'm working on my credit, right?
And that's the problem. They're working on their credit.
They're working on it because we don't have the expertise as a regular consumer.
Yeah.
To go out to be able to get all of the letters and know the
laws, against different companies and when they're breaking them, and then force them to have to remove something off your credit. So I'll tell you, when I first got started in the industry, of course, me as a mortgage lender, I know what needs to come off your credit. And I know, some steps that you can take to get things removed or what you can pay down to get your credit up. But what I learned was I would pour into clients. I would go over their credit report for 1 to 2 hours, send them off to do the work to get their credit where it needed to be. And David, I'm telling you, I checked in on them 4 months later. I asked them, did they call anybody? Did they send a letter? Did they think about sending a letter? And they told me no. And the thing is, at that point, that's a waste of time. Because at the end of the day, for the credit team that I use, it's $15 for that first month.
Hold on. What you say?
It's $15 for the first month, and then it's $90.
Hold on. What'd you say?
$15 for the first month.
$15 for the first month. Let's go.
$15 for the first month, and then it's $90 every month after. But I'm telling you, they're turning around my clients in 3 to 8 months. So you're able to buy within that same year. And I know a lot of people who do credit repair, they require like hundreds of thousands up front. But this program, you're able to pay, and you're paying in arrears. You're paying at the end of the month after they've done work on your credit. And like I said, they were able to get a bankruptcy off of one of my clients' credit in the first 30 days. So that's the best $15 she ever spent in her life to get going.
15, right? And she didn't have. She didn't have to go to the court. She didn't have to drive all the way to Lynchburg.
Right.
Try to fight this on her own.
Right.
She paid somebody $15.
And the thing is, in the state of Virginia, that's the requirement for anybody working on your credit. They cannot charge you more than $15 in that first month. So if you're paying more than $15, that's against Virginia state law.
How many people know that? I didn't.
I learned that when I got it with the credit team. They're like, yeah, Virginia state law requires you can't pay more than $15 for that first month. Wow. So, that's kind of, these are lessons for people to learn going forward. But yeah, so I'm able to get my clients in good hands. And these people are working on their credit every single day, day in and day out from 9. And they don't even get home until I don't think they take off until like 9 p.m. So from like 9 a.m. to 9 p.m., we have somebody working advocating for our clients, sending letters for our clients. And the thing is, everything is structured around home ownership. So their whole goals is to prepare clients to buy a home. So basically, they're going to work on getting their credit together. So my credit team knows about FHA guidelines and USDA guidelines and conventional guidelines and all of that stuff, just like I do, because that they know that when they send the client back to me, that I want to be able to get started with them.
Right.
I don't want any hiccups on my end. So they know they need to know FHA guidelines about these late payments and what needs to come off so that I can do my job efficiently. So that is really the biggest thing for me. Is the credit part is easy to me now. Now that I have a team around me and they update me on all of my clients. Every 45 days, I get an update on my clients. You know, sometimes your clients get a little antsy and they'll call me.
Yeah.
And they're like, hey, so what's been done on my credit? I'll just email them. They'll show me everything that has been removed off the client's credit, what else the client needs to do to get their credit where they want it to be. And then, you know, we get a little update on what the timeline is going to be. So that's kind of what I do for all my clients and why I don't really want them to try to buy at 580 if I know it might take us a few months and we can get you way better terms to buy at that point and maybe even get you more assistance to buy at that point.
So at most, that's 90 plus 15. That's 100. That's $105.
Mm-hmm.
And that
And
you
that's
have
for
got
the first 2 months.
for the first 2 months that you've gotten
Mm-hmm.
somebody prepared to purchase a home with a better rate.
Mm-hmm.
Their credit score has jumped. I mean, this client over 100 points.
Mm-hmm.
They got something removed off the credit report that was holding them back for
Mm-hmm.
$15. So, my God, you have literally blown my mind. I forgot where we were going. But Devin, I hope this is helping you, my friend, and
But
to
yeah, don't
everybody.
be afraid to step out of your comfort zone, because this is the thing. When I talk to clients all the time, I tell them I'm more scared to rent than I ever would be scared to buy, because of what I've seen clients go through and people I've
Mhm.
worked with go through with renting. It's like, and it's always at the worst possible time. It's
Right.
always when you don't have any money, or when a family member has passed away, or I mean, it's the worst possible time that they tell you need to get out of your home. And
Right.
then you are in panic mode. You are in absolute panic mode trying to figure out where you're going to go. I tell everybody, if you are purchasing a home, they have to go through all type of stuff to get you out of that house. You aren't going to be kicked out in no 30 days. They, first of all, are going to offer you all type of remediation, so loan
Mhm.
modifications, different ways to resolve the issue. So you can modify your loan. You can have all of those payments you missed added to the end, start on a fresh slate, pay your mortgage like you never were late, and go on about your business. I've done a ton of loan modifications. So I always tell people, when it gets to that point, that
Mhm.
means you didn't try to use any of those programs that are available to people who own their homes. And a lot of people want to buy foreclosures. Like when
Yep.
they call me, they're like, Tyleek, I'm looking at a foreclosure, whatever. It is so much out here for homeowners, especially since COVID,
Right.
to protect them and to keep them in their homes. So you can't have your whole strategy for purchasing a home being off of somebody else getting kicked out of theirs.
Correct.
So, that's not a great strategy, especially not right now, because we have so many government programs to protect the homeowner.
Right.
Is a good thing.
And
Keep more families in their home. But that's kind of what I tell everybody. I'm more scared to rent because I've seen what it can do to you, especially when you get too comfortable. I've seen people fix up a house they don't own, and I mean fix it up. I'm talking about fully remodel the kitchen, fully remodel the bathrooms, and next thing you know, the owner is like, "Hey, can you leave in 30 days? I mean, I need you to move. I'm about to sell this house."
Mhm.
This, that, and the third. And that's because at the end of the day, we get comfortable. We start to call the place we're living at ours. We start to call everything ours. This is my refrigerator. This is my home. I want to paint it because I can't stay nowhere that looks ugly. I got to fix these appliances. I can't live nowhere where my refrigerator isn't at this certain level. And at the end of the day, you're adding value to somebody else's home, and they have done nothing but let you live there.
That's
And
it.
then, you know, you put more money in their pocket. So if they want to rent it out, now their home looks better for the next person. They're going to pay more. If they want to sell it, now you've added so much value to their home so that when they go to sell it, they are making all of this money and they didn't invest anything into their home. They just had a really good tenant that took care of their property and made it even look better. So at the end of the day, you're just adding money into their pocket. So, you know, a lot of people are scared to purchase, but at the end of the day, this is a investment. Just like if you're
That's what it
investing in
is.
stocks and bonds and things of that nature, and it's a long-term investment because eventually you're not going to have a house payment. You talk about the mortgage payment, this, that, and the third, but you're going to rent forever if you do choose to rent forever. You're
Right.
always going to owe somebody money for where you stay. And then with purchasing a home, you can pay that off. And then your house payment is no more. All you have to pay is homeowners insurance and taxes and call it a day. You
And
might have to
for
pay
the
two, three,
lifetime.
$4,000 for housing at that point going forward, and then you can pass that on to your kids. Always having a place to stay, or
Mhm.
even having a stream of income where your kids are able to collect the rental income from the properties that you have that are owned free and clear.
Right.
So those are the benefits. There's so many benefits, but
Just so many benefits. And then two, after you fix up this person's house and the seller goes to closing, how many sellers you know giving a check to the tenant for the
they're
work that
not.
they did?
They're not. That's not happening. They're not
It's
gonna
not
give
happening.
you a check for
They
that.
don't give you a check.
They're like,
And
thank you. I mean, because most of them don't ask for you to do it. You do that on your own. So
right.
you can't even really blame them for not cutting you a check because they didn't ask you to fix the house up. You did it yourself, and then they
Right.
just get to reap the benefits of it. So
Right.
that's why I tell people just don't get too comfortable. Like if your name is not on the deed for the home that you live in, just don't get too comfortable. No, try to have an exit plan. Whether you want to buy right now or want to buy later, try to have an exit plan and know that at the end of the day, I tell everybody, like I had a client tell me the other day, look, I don't really like some of the stuff I'm seeing on the market. It's not up to par to what I want. So I'm gonna be a renter forever. I said, well, yeah, you're gonna be paying a mortgage. You're just gonna be paying somebody else's mortgage. You ain't gonna
And
be
somebody
paying
else.
your own. So at the end of the day, I mean, you're paying a mortgage either way, whether you're gonna pay your own or somebody else's. And like they always say, renting is 100% interest.
100% interest.
100%
And
interest. So you worried about a 5, 6, 7% interest rate, and you paying 100% interest on
and
somebody
you
else's
don't
property.
and at tax time you get no benefits. You don't get
Yeah.
depreciation, you don't get appreciation, you don't get the interest paid.
Mhm.
So it's
It's a lose-lose
it's a
situation.
lose-lose. And I
I mean, I'll say,
yeah,
renting is important for people in certain situations. If you aren't sure where you want to be at, you
right.
aren't sure if you want to be in the area for longer than a few months. But I do tell everybody, I mean, I have heard so many success stories, and I'll tell you about one of my friends. One of my friends, her family member bought a home when interest rates were like 2%. She bought a home for like 200,000, had a great payment, lived in the home for a year, listed the property for sale for 400,000. So
Nice.
all she did was live in the property, pay
Nice.
her mortgage, go on about her business, and made $200,000 on her investment.
Nice.
So at the end of the day, you know, I'm not saying everybody who goes out and buys a house tomorrow is going to get that type of return, but you have to pay for where you stay regardless.
Hmm.
You might as well pay for, you know, something that could give you a return on your investment.
Now, we do have another question, but I wanna stick right here for a second because real estate is a long game,
Yes.
right? Now, let's say you bought a house in 2019,
Mhm.
2018, 2017, and this COVID shows up.
Mhm.
Interest rates come way down. Yeah,
Mhm.
people made a lot of equity in a short period of time for that.
Right.
But like you said, we're here, we're creating, and there's a guy in California, he's an agent, on a broker, but he says with every one of his clients. He is making real estate investors out of them,
Right.
even though they're purchasing the home as a primary residence. There's going to come a time when you're going to want to either sell the home or buy something else, right?
Right.
Because you may move into this house for a growing family situation or whatever it is, and you have all this house.
Mm-hmm.
Well, a lot of folks, as they age, they don't want that much house because you have
Right. They
plenty.
want to downsize.
Yeah, may have stairs, empty nesters, whatever it is. Then I want something smaller. But over the time that you own this house, you've been growing equity by paying your mortgage
Mm-hmm.
down. Property values are going up. So, like you say, over a span of time, you've made X amount of money. Now, let's just say I've lived in the house 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
Do I pay capital gains tax when I sell?
Listen,
And I know we're not
accountants.
we're not accountants. We're not, but for capital gains, I bought the house 10 years ago for 100,000.
Mhm.
I'm selling it now for 300. I
Listen, I'm
made
gonna let you answer that one, David. I don't get into the capital gains.
but that's just another thing to think about.
Yeah,
That you want to talk to your accountant. As a renter, you can't do that.
yeah.
If she paid $250,000 in rent and you
But
have
then
nothing.
also, I do know when it comes to the proceeds you make off of a house, if you put those proceeds back into real estate, you're not taxed on it.
Mhm.
If you've lived in the property for a certain period of time.
Right. And again,
So
I'm an accountant.
yeah, we're not accountants,
We're
but look,
not
I
accountants.
want to chime
But
in. But I wanted
yeah.
to bring this point up because
Okay.
I did a presentation for Free Game February not too long ago.
Yep.
And I would love if I could show you guys. Well, I don't
Um,
really know how to work the
let me
screen,
see.
but I'm just going to tell you about this map that I have.
I
So,
think I think you can.
how do I do it?
I don't know.
Um,
Do you see share or present on
I
your
see
side?
present,
Okay, click on that. And I'm gonna put this question up too while you do that.
and we're gonna share
So
my screen. So
okay.
let me make sure I don't have any information on here that we have all type of stuff on our computers. So I
Right.
don't have any identifying information on here. So I'm gonna present, and I want to show you. I want to show you guys this little map.
Okay.
So how do
And
I just show them my entire screen? Okay, share.
okay, so I should see it pop up on my side.
Not
But a
oh
question
here.
we have is how long does it take for something to come off of your credit?
Well, typically it takes 7 years if you don't get any assistance to try to get it off any faster.
So 7 years. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
So can you see my screen?
I can. I'm gonna add to the
Okay.
stream.
So can you
There we
see
go.
this map?
Yep.
So this map is showing the percent change in home prices since 1991. Now, I was not born in 1991, but I'm pretty sure a lot of people that were born in 1991 or
Me.
alive and well in 1991.
Me.
And this just goes to show about generational wealth and how we have to set this precedent for our families and pass it on through generations because this is just in 1991. Look at the states of Virginia and North Carolina.
Oh my God.
The percent change in home prices since 1991. This is a 267.2% return on investment in Virginia and a 294% return on investment in North Carolina. Since 1991, imagine the people who've owned their homes since 1950 or and kept these homes in their family since that time and rented those properties out and things of that nature. And this is just in these two states. Look around. Look at Tennessee, 336.9%.
Mm-hmm.
Like, look at these different states and how much the home values and home prices have increased since 1991.
But that's only 22 years.
Yes.
Wow.
Well, maybe even, well, I'm a little older than that, David. I was
No,
born in
no, no, no.
1991.
91,
I mean,
01,
97.
30 something years.
Yeah, I was born in 1997 and I'm 25. So, yeah,
Okay.
this is a
Yeah,
little
30
bit,
something
but
years. Wow.
either way, like look at these numbers and how much home prices have increased, and look at how much wealth has been built just since 1991. If
Right.
you were that person that bought that first home in your family and transferred it to your kids, or kept it, bought and hold it and held it instead of just selling, the properties. So this is why I tell everybody, don't sell your grandma's house. Like, we are
Yep. Come
fortunate
on.
enough to have, like, my grandma owns her house. Like, we have people, elders, who understood the importance of buying a property.
Yep.
Like, my grandma owns her house, but I know some people, weren't fortunate enough to have family members who own their houses and things of that nature. But this is why you don't just sell your grandma's house for a quick buck.
Mm-hmm.
If you own that house, you better refinance it or something like that, or do a home equity line, pull some equity out, fix the property up, either live in it yourself or rent it.
Rent it out.
But don't just take all of these properties out of your family lineage and things of that nature. Don't just sit up there and get rid of properties, because it is expensive
Right.
now.
It is.
And if you're able to get your grandma's house and then just fix it up, and then have a beautiful 3-bedroom, 1 bath, or 3-bedroom, 2 bath to live in. Like, come on now, let's not give up on that
Right.
for a quick little piece of change. Because the
Right.
longer you hold it, the more the property is going to be worth. Even in areas like Danville, Halifax County, Martinsville, like there are so many opportunities still here now for a return on investment. Like, we are one of the few areas where you can still buy a house for under 200,000 and it's move-in ready.
Right. And then with all of the economic improvements and changes that are coming to Southern Virginia,
Mm-hmm.
outside of Caesar's coming, right? I mean, you got all of these companies moving into town now.
Yeah.
So and like Martinsville, South Boston, Blair's, all of these areas, when stuff comes to Danville, I mean,
And that adds so much
they
value.
yeah, they that impact affects those areas too.
And not even just the new businesses, the people relocating for a lower cost of living.
Yeah.
We have people relocating from New Jersey, from Florida, from California. And I'm telling you, I was a notary for a lot of the closings, and I also am the lender for a lot of these closings. And these
Mhm.
people have a lot more they're willing to spend, which is also bringing the price up in the area as well, because they are willing to spend it.
Right.
Because for them, this is chump change
It's nothing.
to come here and buy a house for 150. I mean, come on now. That's like, they know that that's an opportunity there that they can't get anywhere else. So we have a lot of people coming into these areas searching for a lower cost of living, which is driving the cost of living, up for people who've been here.
Right. And paying cash.
Yeah, they're paying cash.
Paying cash.
Mm-hmm.
What else do we have? So I know we had talked about some incentives before about sellers paying closing cost.
Mm-hmm.
Other incentives include what?
Like you
For
talking about, like,
first time home buyers anyway.
okay, so first time home buyers, they have a lot of incentives for first time home buyers. So first of all, of course, you can get grants where you don't have to pay that down payment money back. You get that grant and you're in your home and you never have to pay it back. But you also have loans where they will cover all of your down payment, all of your closing costs for your purchase. And then as long as you live in that home for a set period of time, you may never have to pay that back. Or sometimes they'll add it on as like a second loan, and it'll
Mhm.
probably be $20 extra a month, but you didn't have to come out of pocket with 7, 8, $10,000. And also like the tax incentives, like you were talking about earlier, like the interest paid on your property.
Mhm.
Being able to have that and being able to get more money back on your taxes is amazing. Also, I tell people about the equity line. Like, that is my favorite thing to talk about because not enough people talk about it.
Okay.
Is a home equity line of credit. Whether you're going to do a HELOC, which is a revolving line like a credit card, or if you're going to do like a one-time equity pool from your home. But you can pay for almost anything with that equity. Like, people pay for their kids' college education with a HELOC.
Yep.
People will buy and start investing in other properties. So you own your first property, you know you have some equity in that property. You take out $100,000 worth of equity if you do have it available or something, and you start buying other properties. And now that one property has helped you gain two, three, four, five other properties, and now you are able to invest, and that's an investment opportunity for you and your family just off of purchasing one. So I tell everybody, because a lot of people try to come in their first property, they want to be an investor off gate.
Right.
And at the end of the day, sometimes you just have to own that first property, live in that first property, see the financial benefits of owning that property, and then allow that property to help you get more properties in the future.
I love
So
it.
that's kind of how I look at it. I tell everybody, if you owe a lot of debt, let's say, you need to pay off some debt, you're drowning in debt, but you own your home and you have some equity in there, you can pull that equity out of your home, pay all that debt off, and basically start on like a clean slate and just have a small payment monthly that'll be added on.
I love it. I love it. Yep. And I wish we had more people watching. We'll definitely blast this out. But what would qualify someone as a first time home buyer?
So if your name has not been on a deed for 3 years, you are a first time home buyer. So a lot of people who've owned a home and sold a home 10 years ago, they aren't aware of that. They're like, hold on, yeah, this is not my first house. But no, how long has it been since you haven't been on a deed? Because you are a first time home buyer again, as long as it's been 3 years since your name has been on the deed.
3 years. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Here's a question I think everybody wants to know.
Okay.
From what you're hearing and what you know in the industry, where do you see interest rates going? Are they going to increase or decrease in the, I'm gonna say, near future?
Yeah, we anticipate a decrease in the near future. So we anticipate that we should really start seeing some drops in 2024. Really, we have an incentive even with Alcova. If you buy before a certain time or within a certain time, we'll give you $1,000 in your closing costs if you close before December 31st of 2024. So we do see that incentive there, and we do expect that interest rates are going to fall. But like I mentioned earlier, interest rates falling is amazing, but you probably will need to come with a little bit more money if interest rates do fall down to 2 or 3%, because we're not sure what the market is going to be like overall, and if sellers are going to be willing to help as much during those times, because right now with interest rates a little bit higher, they understand, okay, this is a little bit tougher on the buyer. Let me help them and give them some incentives to purchase my home by offering to pay their closing costs and pay down their interest rate as well. And that makes it a little bit better for people. But if you're not in a situation where they feel like they even need to do that, they won't do that.
Right. Okay. So it's pros and cons to
every little way you ebb and flow. If you want a lower payment, if you want a lower interest rate, and that's the time you want to buy, you want to make sure you're saving right now.
Right. Okay. So is now still a good time to buy?
I feel like it's always a good time to buy.
Always a good time.
Whenever you're ready to purchase a house and whenever you have your ducks in a row, because let's talk about it. Okay. I'm going to be honest with you.
Talk about it.
When COVID came and rates were 2 and 3%, the media was saying, don't buy a house. They were telling people when rates were 2 and 3% not to buy a home.
Yep.
As rates increase, it's still don't buy a home. It's still fear mongering. It's a lot that's out there. But at the end of the day, a lot of people talk about a crash. And in 2008, a lot of people don't understand that predatory lending was the
Yep.
reason for that crash.
Right.
So you were able to say, I am a doctor. I make $400,000 a year. Nobody was checking after you and making sure you actually could pay your mortgage. So you could go in a lot of no doc, no income verification, and you were able to purchase a home that way. And
Right.
that's what led to the 2008 crash was predatory lending, getting a lot of people into loans and houses that they knew they couldn't afford.
Right.
But now, as you know, lending, we have so many guidelines. It is so strict. And we
Yep.
go through so much just to make sure that the people who are purchasing a home are likely to make sure they pay that money back. So, we go through a lot as lenders and we have to check a lot of boxes,
Right.
dot all our I's and cross all our T's before you make it to that closing table. So, and then it's a lot of different government organizations that had to come into play after 2008
Mm-hmm.
to monitor the financial industry, specifically mortgages, and make sure that we're doing right by our consumers. So we have a lot to follow, a lot of rules to follow. So we aren't predatory lending. You can't come to me and say you're a doctor making 400,000 and you just
Uh-huh.
that's not good enough. Let's look at this credit.
Yep.
Let's look at this income. Let's look at this debt, and let's verify these documents. Let's make sure that everything you're sending me is legit.
Right.
Let's make sure, because people will give you some fake bank statements or fake
I know, right.
W-2. Anyway, and they'll do
Yeah.
that. So we have to verify that you are telling us the truth, that everything you're providing us is real. Which is, a lot of people hoping for a crash. If it does crash, or if there's anything like that, it won't be on the side of people not being able to afford their mortgages. It
Right.
could be another big factor going on in the world. But at
Right.
the end of the day, what did we just show on that map? Since 1991,
Mm-hmm.
there has been a 267.2% return on investment. And I tell everybody, waiting costs you. It's always a cost to waiting. So even
It
people
is.
who waiting for a lower interest rate, yeah, you're waiting for a lower interest rate, but these home prices keep rising.
Yep.
And also, as the home prices are rising, you're losing out in equity that you could have gained by owning your home. So you're paying more for the home, even though you are having a lower interest rate. So there's always an opportunity cost associated with it. And then I also have a lot of clients who they want a 800 before they buy. And I tell everybody that is the biggest scam, to
Mm-hmm.
feel like you need to have a 750 or 800 before you purchase a home. There are not that many perks to that. So like, think about the people who bought or refinanced with 600s, like 620 as their credit score when rates were 2 and 3%. They always beat out people with 800s now,
Mm-hmm.
because they
Yeah.
are always going to get a better interest rate. It's about the time you buy as well. So they bought, and maybe they did get a higher interest rate, even if they got 3.5%, which could have been high at that time.
Mm-hmm.
That's still better than somebody with an 800 today. So also, I tell everybody, interest rates are not free. They cost money.
Right.
So if you have more money, you could have a 620 and you could pay for that interest rate that the person with the 750 or 800 is getting without having to pay for it. But you're not, everything is reversible. Like I say, if you have the funds, you can get yourself to exactly where they are, or you could use those funds, get some credit repair and refinance and get a better rate,
Right.
if you are in that space. But you don't have to have a 750 before you start the journey of owning. I'll say out of all of the people that I've closed with, maybe three had like a 750.
Mm-hmm.
But that's probably like what, 95% don't have a 750.
Right.
So yeah.
Yeah. All right. So we have a question that came in.
Okay.
And it's in response to the predatory lending that you made.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put it up, and then we can talk about it, and then
Okay.
we'll wrap up. Um, predatory lending. Clinton administration passed a law in '92 to reduce standards of lending for homes, reducing down payments, income standards. The lenders had to follow the law.
And that could be true that Clinton passed that law, but that does not mean people followed that law. There was predatory lending before 2008, which led to the crash. Even if you talk to any lenders who were in the business at that time, they'll tell you they didn't have to do nearly as much as we have to do now to verify the income for the clients, to verify that they can pay their mortgages back. So if you, at the end of the day, if you know that people did not make the money they said they made and you still gave them a loan, that's predatory.
Gotcha.
Regardless of what was out there, because we didn't have all of these government organizations to protect people who were going to own a home like we have now. That all came as a result of 2008 and that crash at that time.
Gotcha. All right. So, where can people find you and to work with you to get into their new home? What's the best way for people to get in touch with you?
So the best way, so you can email me at tbrandon@alcova.com. And that's like my best way to get in contact with me. And then more than likely I'll schedule like a phone call just to get an idea of what you currently have going on and how I can assist you. So that's really the best way to get in contact with me.
tbrandon@alcova.com. There we go. So anybody watching and you are looking to relocate to Danville, Virginia, or the surrounding area, or over in North Carolina,
yeah,
both licensed in both states, we would
and we can help you.
Love and happy to help. Do you have any final thoughts for our viewers before we end our live stream for today?
Well, my final thought is at the end of the day, I think that everyone should talk to a professional if they're interested in purchasing a home, just to get an idea of where you currently stand or what you need to do. If this is something that you want to do, definitely talk to someone who has been, you've sold millions, we've sold millions, and we have, done a lot of work in this area and put, a lot of first time home buyers into homes. So we are here as a resource to assist you. You are not paying, especially I know a lot of clients think they have to pay for the realtor themselves. Typically the seller is the person that's paying for you to have an agent. So you always want to have that representation. And then for me, I don't get paid unless you get into a house. So we both don't get paid unless you get into a house. But we are here to advise you, and it's not like you have to come out of pocket for anything just to talk to us and figure out a strategy to get you into a home if it's something that you want. So don't be afraid to have that initial conversation with one of us, because we'll advise you the best way we can. For me, I try to work out like a game plan. If we can't get you into a house right now, let's work on getting you into a house in the next 6 to 12 months. Let's start dotting our I's. Let's start getting some of these late payments off. Let's start bringing in more income, minimizing debt, and advise you on that way. So I tell everybody, we definitely will get you into a house. It's just, how much time do we need to get there?
Okay. So, all right. So I got a client that I've been working with. I love this young lady. They're in New York looking to move this way. And we've been going back and forth about just Southern cooking and Southern eating. So, she made homemade biscuits. So I said, when I get to here, this is something I would like.
Yeah.
And I'll invite you.
Listen, I want some. I love a good biscuit.
So, Devin, this is what I need you to do. I need you to reach out to Tyleek.
Yes, call me, Devin.
Here's the email address again.
Yes, we're gonna set up an appointment. We're gonna get you here.
Now I know that's a 12-month timeline that we're on.
Okay.
Um, and Talik, thank you again for
You're
joining
welcome.
today. Again, this is Living in Danville, Virginia. Your host, David Totten. If you are looking to relocate, move, buy, or sell in the area, feel free to reach out, give us a call, shoot us a text, send us an email. We'd be glad to help you make a smooth move to Danville, Virginia. You have with me today Mrs. Talik Brandon from Alcova Mortgage, one of my preferred lending partners who, I mean, we've been working together for what, maybe almost a month now,
Mm-hmm.
and we are helping 3 families already
Yeah.
in the short time that her and I have been working together. She does work closely with a teammate of mine, Sharnice Valentine, who is also here in Danville.
Mm-hmm.
Latasha Austin, who is here in
Yep.
Danville.
Listen, I tell
Yeah,
everybody I'm the EXP lender at this point.
EXP lender. So we're here to help you.
Yes.
We will start doing more lives. I'll try to get some more of the team on. Of course, have Talik on, who is a part of the team, and we're here to help you win in real estate.
Yeah.
Leave us a comment. Don't forget to reach out to us. Those are my final thoughts. Devin, yes, it's going to be a party once we get you here to Virginia or North Carolina from New York.
Yes.
Talik, thank you again.
You're
I got to run off
welcome.
and meet one of our clients now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
So I'll let you know how that
praying for the
goes.
best. Praying
Um,
for the best. So
yeah,
I'll be excited.
yeah. So I'll reach out to you offline to
Mm-hmm.
set up our next live stream. We'll try to get Sharnice, Latasha, and Jared on, and we'll talk shop
Let's
as
go.
best way we can.
All right. Well, I'll be back next time.
All right. Thank you, Talik. Thank you, John Henderson. Thank you, Devin, for your comments today. And everyone else
Yes.
who's watching. If you're watching in the future, uh, again, Talik Brandon, Alcova Mortgage, David Totten,
Mhm.
EXP Realty. We're here to help you relocate to Danville and the surrounding area. Y'all take care till we see you in the next video. God bless.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.